If you are planning a Vietnam tour from India, stop right here. You have clicked on the perfect video. In the next few minutes, I will give you a complete Vietnam tour plan covering North, Central and South Vietnam. You will learn about the best time to visit, visa process, flights, family and honeymoon itineraries, along with transport and accommodation tips. But here's the big question. What's the ideal number of days to explore Vietnam without missing on its best experiences? Is it 8, 10 or 12 days? Well, before we get into that, let's first understand Vietnam better. Vietnam, located in Southeast Asia, is divided into three main regions: Hanoi, Halong Bay and Ninh Binh, with stunning landscapes and cultural heritage forming the northern side of the country, while Da Nang, Hoi An, famous for beaches, lantern towns and imperial history, is in central Vietnam. Ho Chi Minh City, Mekong Delta and Phu Quoc Island, known for modern lifestyles, floating markets and island resorts, forming the country's southern part. Now that you know the three main regions of Vietnam, the question is, which season is best to cover all of them comfortably? The best time to visit Vietnam is during October to April, when the weather is pleasant across most regions. Summer, May to August, can be hot and humid but is good for beach lovers, while the monsoon season, that is September, brings heavy rain in some areas. But what's the smartest way to divide your days across these regions? Whether you are planning for an 8-day, 10-day or 12-day tour to Vietnam, here is an itinerary for each duration. Let's begin with the 12-day tour plan, and then I will customize it for 8 and 10 days. But please remember, the more days you have, the more comfortably you can explore all the parts of this beautiful country. Day 1. On the first day of our Vietnam tour, we landed in Hanoi, the famous city in the north. You will easily get direct flights from all major Indian cities to Vietnam, and that made our journey smooth, taking around 5 hours. The e-visa process was easy and we cleared immigration quickly. After a short rest at the hotel, we began exploring Hanoi's old quarter in the evening. The narrow streets were full of shops, cafes and street vendors selling everything from souvenirs to sizzling Vietnamese snacks. We also walked around One Kiem Lake, a peaceful spot in the middle of the city. As the sun set, we enjoyed the famous water puppet show, a traditional performance that we all enjoyed. Day 2. Our second day was reserved for exploring Hanoi's history. We started with the Ho Chi Minh Mausoleum, where we learned about the country's most respected leader. Next, we visited the One Pillar Pagoda, followed by the Temple of Literature, which was Vietnam's first university built in 1070. Later in the afternoon, we headed to Phu Quoc Pagoda, the oldest Buddhist temple in Hanoi, standing beautifully by the lake. In the evening, we strolled through the night market, testing local street food and shopping for handmade crafts. Day 3. On the third day, we went to Ninh Binh, often called Halong Bay on land. We took a small boat through Tam Coc Cave, surrounded by rice fields and limestone mountains. Then we climbed the Mua Cave viewpoint, which gave us a panoramic view. Day 4. On the fourth day, we set out for Halong Bay, a UNESCO World Heritage Site around 3 hours from Hanoi. Boarding our cruise ship, we sailed among thousands of limestone islands rising from emerald waters. We explored hidden caves, went kayaking, enjoyed fresh seafood lunch on the deck. The beauty of the bay felt like something out of a painting. It was one of the most memorable days of our trip. Day 5. On the fifth morning, we flew to Da Nang, located in central Vietnam. From there, a short drive took us to Hoi An, a charming ancient town. We checked into a cozy riverside hotel and then explored the lantern-lit streets in the evening. Hoi An felt magical with colorful lanterns hanging across the streets, tailors' shops and little cafes along the river. We also took a short boat ride where we released paper lanterns into the water, making wishes. Day 6. The sixth day was dedicated to Bana Hills, a fantasy theme park in the mountains. A thrilling cable car ride took us up, offering stunning views. The highlight was the Golden Bridge, held up by two giant stone hands, a must-see for everyone. We also visited the flower gardens, French village, and fun indoor games at Fantasy Park. By evening, we returned to Hoi An to relax by the river. Day 7. On the seventh day, we flew south to Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam's largest city. Our first stop was the Cu Chi Tunnels, an underground network used during Vietnam War. Crawling through the narrow tunnels was adventurous, but best suited for adults and older kids. Later, we explored Ben Thanh Market, full of souvenirs, handicrafts and local snacks. Day 8. The 8th day was reserved for the Mekong Delta. We drove a couple of hours out of the city and boarded a wooden boat. Floating past coconut plantations, fruit orchards and small villages gave us a glimpse of rural Vietnam. By evening, we returned to Ho Chi Minh City. In the evening, we boarded a Saigon River dinner cruise, enjoying the skyline lit up with skyscrapers and colonial buildings. Day 9. On the 9th day, we flew to Phu Quoc Island, Vietnam's tropical paradise. After checking into our beachfront resort, we relaxed at Long Beach, famous for its golden sands and stunning sunset. Day 10. The 10th day was dedicated to exploring the island's attractions. We started with the Phu Quoc cable car, one of the longest oversea cable cars in the world, which took us to Hon Thom Island for water activities. In the afternoon, we visited Sao Beach, one of the most beautiful beaches in Vietnam with powdery white sand and turquoise water. Later, we spent the evening at Grand World Phu Quoc, a massive entertainment complex with colorful Venice-style canals, light shows, shopping, and lively performances. Day 11. On our final day, we went on an island hopping tour by speedboat. We visited smaller islands around Phu Quoc, such as Gam Ghi Island for snorkeling, Meerat Island for swimming, and coral reefs filled with tropical fish. It was a day full of sea, sun, and adventure. By late afternoon, we returned to our resort. Day 12. On the 12th day, we headed to the airport for our flight back to Ho Chi Minh City, connecting onward to India. Now, if you have 8 days in hand, you can skip Phu Quoc Island and Ninh Binh day trip from this itinerary. For a 10-day tour, skip only Phu Quoc Island, while the rest of the tour remains the same as above. But once you have decided your itinerary, the next question is, where should you stay for the best experience? Vietnam offers a wide range of stays from luxury resorts, boutique hotels to budget hotels. In Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City, stay in the Old Quarter or near District 1 for easy access. In Hoi An, stay near the ancient town for a romantic vibe. In Da Nang or Phu Quoc, beach resorts are best for families and honeymooners. For online booking links, please check the description box below. Now you know where to stay in each city depending on your style and budget. But how do you actually move around Vietnam efficiently? Vietnam has convenient domestic flights between Hanoi, Da Nang and Ho Chi Minh City. For local travel, taxis and private cars can be hired for sightseeing. Trains and buses are budget options, but families prefer flights for comfort. Hope you got all the information you need to plan your Vietnam trip. If you love this tour plan, don't forget to like and share the video. And here is my question for you. If you had to pick only one, would you choose the mountains of Halong Bay or the beaches of Phu Quoc? Tell me in the comments below. Thanks for watching it.